Greetings, everyone. This is me again, Zahra Bisak. This time, the topic is Contradictions in Me since 1999. May, I joined Desichat. I was told by a friend, a brother who studied with me in Holborn College, London, Pakistani, Moin Abbasi. So I joined on the internet this time in Karachi. When I came back to Karachi after graduating, from my college, Holborn College, Internal University of Wolverhampton. So some things happened there. Anand Kiran was showing that he could see inside my bedroom with the lake or river up north, pictures of up north on my calendar uh, hung on the wall. And maybe they could see from the window, I'm not sure. I couldn't go to those, neighbors where these new houses had come up, now constructed, to see if through the roof or something, because the way the calendar was, like the window was there and next to the wall, I wondered if they could see the calendar. And from here, from my side, inside of the bedroom, I couldn't tell if they could fully see the calendar, the lake on the calendar. So this, and I would be jerked at 11 o'clock or 10 o'clock in the night in Karachi, even when asleep, because I had sleep apnea and all this because of my chronic fatigue. So my timings sometimes messed up. In the night, I'd be sleeping, or afternoon, right until like late, and then get up perhaps, for example, 2 a.m. But before that, now that I'd started to go on Desichat, I would have a jerk in my arm and that would wake me up and see that, oh, it's time to go to Desichat and talk to Anand Kiran, and then Atif Malik of KPMG, Adila Sheikh, all this. But it started from Desichat. The watching thing started, remote viewing, and I felt I was losing my grace. I was very distressed and all this. So whatever it was, like Mrs. Manira Gul had told me when I was in London, I don't know why, to discipline myself. I've been trying since my case with my teacher in Karachi American School, uh, going to therapist, it wasn't working. I feel like I'm like I thought it was that my teacher said she's a nuisance, like a untamed person, wild person. Oh, please, Miss Tissa, give me 5 more minutes. Or even if she gives me half an hour more in her house, that would be such a treat for me. Just talking to her and having her company, being in her company. Like I used to go to my grandaunt. She would make wonderful tea for me, or she's cooked something and sit at the table and visit her, talk to her. My grandaunt, when she started to stay in her sister's apartment in Karachi, leaving her brother's apartment, I would go there. And I would go to her sister also when she was in Karachi before she left for Oman. So my grandaunts, my mother's side aunts, the doors were always open for us. They never said we were busy or anything. That's the problem. Like I must have been spoiled due to that, not knowing that some people have timings. So I was used to that kind of environment, culture growing up, where the doors of my grandaunts were always welcoming, open for us. I could understand. And so It wasn't like they were not working. They were working. My grandaunt, before leaving for Oman, she was going to a school. I didn't know. It didn't seem like to us. She had five children, like my mother, and she had time for everything. So I didn't know this, in fact, until 2000, year 2000. I said, where did Auntie get this green faluda from? So they said, oh, but in like that place in Karachi, or near her house, like I've never had it. We've never gone for that faluda. So I was told by my aunt, her niece, that she used to go to school. She was a teacher or a nurse or assistant there, and she used to bring it from that school, that green, delicious faluda. Haven't tasted a faluda like that in Karachi even. Like that was in Karachi when she was living there before going to Oman for good and then coming for visits. So this in year 2000, I found out that my grand aunt, was a teacher, or she was going to school for work and then coming back home and all that. So I didn't know that. Didn't feel like when my grandaunts have said their prayers 5 times, but like in three periods. Uh, like their doors were always open, and so I had a hard time. So the disciplining, and all. There's a little bit on my background on that, and life stories and lessons you could get from my life. So about the Miss Tissa, I thought it was that they thought it's an unhealthy relationship because I'm obsessed with her. I'm too dependent on her. I need her time too much. And all this. Later on, when they separated us, or I left Karachi American School, and then when I wanted to go back, I couldn't. So I don't want to miss anything, lest you say she's lying or something. So yes, I wanted to go back after leaving Karachi American School, but my father went and spoke to them. They wouldn't take me back. They said it's not their policy. So, but after the separation, even Miss Dissa was not seeing me in her house, or having this relationship like a family friend. When invited to a birthday, she could come. She totally cut off from me, closed the doors on me, stopped talking to me. And there was a shock. Like I thought we could work it out together. She could help me. Weren't we family and all this? Now, uh, later on, I was told by my doctor, psychologist, Dr. Farooq C. Ahmed, uh, that the American school called, or she called the American school, and also she called Miss Dissa over to her small institute she had in Tariq Road, PCHS at that time, pioneer in Pakistan. Well, before that, I was going to her student who was doing, Mrs. Hassan, who was doing her PhD from there, her institute. So this is the one you can see. It's like now the doctors would say, are you? So from Karachi American School, first it was like Miss Tissa said, go to a psychologist. American psychologist had now come. I didn't know about this before in elementary, but now I was in high school, and they had a psychologist, American. Um, she had a house near Karachi American School in KD Amir Khusro Road. So Ms. Desa said, go to this psychologist. And I said, I'm not going to any psychologist. Like, we can work this out. Why do I need a psychologist? Like, I didn't want a third person to be, we can work it out, we can talk it through. But then she said, when I told her, okay, she was insisting. Then I said, okay, one day went to her and she said, I was praying for you to go to the psychologist. At that time, we thought they were psychiatrists because through my mother, I understood that. But then I realized, oh, she's a psychologist. So Dr. Todd then transferred me to Farrokh Siyama. Then Farrokh Siyama told me that she was a student there, Dr. Todd even. And then Dr. Todd to Farrokh Siyama's institute, Clinical Psychologist Institute, but to her another student, to Professor Dr. Farrokh Siyama's other student. Complicated case, please bear with me. So Dr. Farrokh Siyama then from Mrs. Hassan, once the head of this institute called me and interviewed me, had a session with me. And then she said, okay, she's going to call Miss Disa, my teacher from Karachi American School, sports teacher. She spoke to her and then she told me that she had told me at that time that Miss Disa had said, oh, I thought she was a lesbian. I wasn't told why this thing. I thought Dr. Todd did say this was an unhealthy relationship, but I didn't know that they had put this blame on me and in my school record, Karachi American School, that Miss Disa thought I was a lesbian when I wasn't at all. So Dr. Farrokh Siyama told me she got very angry at her and outside her staff members heard her screaming, shouting at Miss Tissa, getting very angry at her. How could you say this against her? Miss Tissa had come with a friend, another person. So this, but I didn't hear Dr. Ahmed saying that Miss Tissa, when she told me 1986, 87. But later on, again, she told me when I went to her that yes, Miss Desai had said these words, like quote unquote. Oh, I thought she was a lesbian, and they hadn't told me this clearly. So it was too late now. It was year 2000. I was like, no, I didn't hear you about that. I remember getting angry at her and writing in my diary. I still have that in my old diary that I broke the fast. It was Ramadan. I, since I got angry at Dr. Ferozi Ahmed for shouting at Mr. Sa, I thought it was useless to keep fasting that day because we're supposed to keep away from anger, control our anger, and all this. So I had to, but I didn't abuse her or anything. I just got like upset with her. Why did you shout at Mr. Sa and all this? I wasn't abusing at that time. Couldn't think of abusing since I was also with Miss Disa, the relationship when it started. I got out of the street child and all this, growing up in Karachi. All that I started to like. I want to discipline myself, and why can't I do this? Why couldn't I do this like in the 6th year of my relationship with Miss Disa? Now that I've become a teenager, growing up with her since I was 10, I got attached to her, 10 years old. So, uh, I remember Dr. Ahmed was like, oh, so you like the Bible? I gave her the verse that even Jesus Christ has said, give them the other cheek. So now she's written a note and she wants to send it to one of the male therapists there and my female therapist, Mrs. Hassan. They in the same office they work, but the male female will go leave when she's doing my therapy in that same office. Um, so she's Dr. Ferozi Ahmed said, ringing the bell, calling the staff member, saying, "Take this." Oh, she's saying that is it true? Oh, Mrs. Hassan's mother was Christian German. Do you, any one of you know that in the Bible it's written that if someone slaps you on your right cheek, give them your left cheek or other cheek like that. So I remember, like I was telling Dr. Ahmed, why couldn't I do this? Be patient and, understanding with Mr. Sa, and not sometimes like the boiler was burning, even though I loved her. I told her I loved her, but so all this, and we have these relationships with teachers in St. Joseph's College. I saw the younger students coming up to older students, even me, and giving bouquets and cards that we admire you, and this friendships of these Desi girls are Desi girls also, and with the teachers also attached. They're like mentors, and then we can go to their houses. And Miss Dessa also had her friend, her ex-student. She kept with friendship. So why couldn't I? And even my aunt was saying, like in Dubai, her sister's place, like there was this, her sister's sister-in-law's daughter had a good relationship with her teacher, and they used to go out together shopping and all this. She said, like, why does it have to break with you? And so I thought maybe I'm very intense. I got very intense with Miss Tessa. She wanted to really discipline me. And like we didn't have, she was a Christian and I was a Muslim. Like in Arabs, like we are very emotional and uh, more than Christians. Not teachers taking us out for dinner, or and then one, like in groups, and then one becomes very important, a friend, and they have this lifelong friendship, family friendship also. So why does it happen to you that they all break up from you, run away from you? Maybe your love is bad. Yeah, so this is what I thought, that maybe because I was intense and too, what you call it, imposing, like too distinct for her, Miss Dissa. Also, this, I sometimes would blame myself, then blame the teacher, go in a vicious circle, ask God, and why didn't you help us? Then blame God. Like I should have been disciplined. So this. So I was learning to be disciplined, and along with the therapy. So whatever Miss Dissa wanted me to be, that's what I wanted to be. And I wrote a letter to God saying that, oh God, please change my heart. Like give me a heart transplant. If it's my heart that is stopping me from this discipline and the love, the feelings are too much. So I can be like what Miss Dissa wants me to be, so that we can go on with our friendship, reconcile. So I was trying that since when I agreed to go to the psychologist, the American one, and then here in this institute, and then later on also like keep going. Got so Mrs. Hassan was telling me, no, you won't get attached to me. I assure you of that. And I was afraid, oh, the transference. I was explained that this you will have that transference, like the feelings from his slightly would come on the psychologist also. But I was like, I'll get attached to you. I got used to this, but then God gave me a miracle. Like I couldn't leave therapy, but then God gave me a miracle in 1989, and I forgot Miss Tissa. Then stopped going to doctors. These them. So my father told me that. Okay, since you've stopped, you can have, what you give to the doctors, extra salary, expenditure, sorry, expenditure, monthly expenditure. So I will still keep on giving you. Thank God you've left the doctors. So in college, I left the doctors in 1989, but that's like end of September, October 1989. And so he started, I could do that, all that photography, and not charge my teachers if they wanted, in college, if they wanted even. So I know that copies for this, right? Or something like this. And I could give free copies to Mrs. Munira Gulzar. And so later on in London, I was told that this, so my problems in London, that this black magic on you. I was trying my best, like also buying self-help books. And what the lady told me in London, clairvoyant, just my symptoms exact 100%. So she said, you take one step forward and three steps back. You need help. She said, my dear, this person will ruin your immediate life, immediate family life, family members. She's jealous of your mother and father. I even asked her what have we done to her. So she said, no, you haven't done a single thing to her. She's just jealous of your mother and father. And please take help. I said, I can't take help from you. I can't give you £200. She said, if you're not taking help from me, please take help from someone else. Because maybe what she meant was alone, I wouldn't be able to do it. Okay, so all these problems. And then in year 1999, something happened. I was working for internship, a license in Karachi for the law, to become a lawyer and practicing lawyer. But it wasn't working. I was tired and I didn't like the Karachi. I wasn't settling in back to the Karachi environment. So my teacher in St. Joseph's College, now, she told me, no, even when I was there, she told me you're um, not the kind of person of a Karachiite. Some people, what did she exactly say, Miss Mary Caleb? She said that you will not fit in this system because this system is not for you. You're not from this system. And that's what Thomas told me, that your mental, your mind, your thinking, way of thinking is not from this Eastern way, some of it. Some of it was, but mostly like the way I think and everything, doesn't go with the Eastern here, Pakistani way. So, yes, she said that you will not be able to adjust to the system because you are not made for the system in Pakistan. Miss Mary Caleb told me, my general history teacher then in St. Joseph's College. So, then you see the problem I have here, how it started, and then now recently on YouTube, the snide remarks against ex Muslims also by so called, I don't know if they're Indian Hindus. So, with the self help, how to become mature books, self help books, I read many. Then I came to a conscious power of the subconscious and read those books. Went to Professor Moez when he was a professor, then not a doctor. So, of Yoga Institute in Karachi, and he found that I was reincarnated. He told me that he's what do you call it? Hypnotized innumerable people, and innumerable times he's found that there is reincarnation in their lives. And so so how shall I take it? Let's see. So, taking your power back and not blaming other people. So I wasn't blaming other people. I was just working on myself, even though someone had threatened to do jadoo on me, black magic on me, to a mutual friend. That story I keep saying, but not here in detail, right? So, I was suffering a lot, and I left, not taken out. I remember leaving Karachi American School, telling Miss Tissa, and she agreed to me going to her place and saying to her, I'm scared. Like something will happen, something is going to happen, something bad. But then after 1983, in 84, I left Karachi American School. I couldn't adjust to the local schools and this and that. That's another matter, I think. So sorry if I. So what happened is in London, the lady told me, clairvoyant, please take help because you're not the one thinking and you're not the one doing this, getting angry. So it increased in year 1999 when I met Anand Kiran. Now, 1997, I was getting this against principle that intuitively, not voices, but intuitively, that they want to give the principal, Mrs. Munira Gulzar, someone, my enemy, wants to give her cancer. I was really distressed. 1997, sorry, 1997, I apologize, my mistake. In Karachi, whenever I would come for the vacations, or whenever, or one of the vacations, it started in 1997. And now, how could I go back? But I did go back. So there were obstacles, like I feel in retrospect, someone didn't want me to study, have a very like disturbed life, not settle in any school. This also. And then it got worse after 1999 May on Desichat. Anand Kiran was the first one who approached me in this. And then I found I told even emailed my friend in London that I feel I can't reach my higher self. Trying to rise above the lower things, it's taken me in the thing, lower self. I'm being pulled down. I feel like I would be blamed for some things I misunderstanding and also put me in trouble. Like, that Spellbound movie? So now the problem was that my case, if you or the courts or psychiatrists don't believe in black magic, becomes really complicated and there could be a lapse of justice against me and showing my bad, deplorable behavior. It brings out the monster in me and the dirty things I say since 19 after May 1999. So it wouldn't do justice to me. The psychiatrist would say, be admitted in the hospital, and my country would fine me, right? And now the controversy, like I couldn't take it. Like, for example, I want to share with you this, what I found. And this is also my passion, right? This religion, search of truth, I realized that this is my passion too. So this has made me survive, but in other words, could have killed me. Execution or fine on blasphemy. So, saying like Muslims are rapists because they follow this rapist Prophet Muhammad out of context, saying things. And like here also, like, I don't know if the principal, someone read my diary. I did not from the cover. It was a 1989 to 1990 diary where I wrote my personal things, my feelings, coming back from college, everything, like journal, personal journal. And when I was in London, I came back. I wasn't reading my diary, they were all in the drawer. But once, after coming back from London to Karachi, I had graduated. I had to go back to this same old diary that I'm speaking about, 1989 when I joined St. Joseph's College. Uh, the cover, I had used a wrapping paper for the journal, personal journal or diary. Uh, this diary, the sides were torn, and in between my diaries, someone had put torn wrapping paper that I used for the cover of this diary. And I remember not doing this. I would never. You haven't. I. If you look at my other personal diaries, like this was 89 to 90 until 91. Then you look at the 91, mid 91 to, like that, for example. Other diaries, they don't have this torn. And the others also, I wouldn't do this tearing. And they may not have a cover, wrapping paper cover or a cover on them. So that's the thing. Like, how can I show you that I didn't do this? Someone else was reading my diary. And now there was no forensic. How could I take it to a lab and, get fingerprints? Anyways, when I left, my father was saying he was watching my birthday videos coming in my bedroom. And my brothers, I don't suspect my youngest brother at all on this. But and there was a wedding also. So, and my, um, and the cook knew, or if, no, like my mother would keep the key, but when my brother was using it, someone may have come in when my brother was in school and read the diary using my bedroom, staying in my bedroom while I was in London. So I don't suspect at all this youngest brother of mine, no way, but someone else. So while he was staying in my room and I was in London, so maybe they wanted to discipline me, like Mrs. Munira Gulzar later said it when I was in London. Discipline yourself, or just before going to London or after going to London over the phone. Discipline myself. Like there hasn't been a time she's come, like Miss Desichat, to my place. I mean, how much I've stopped my feelings. Uh, I mean, so I was doing my best, and I had chronic fatigue from St. Michael's School. I was 20, 21, something like that. 21, I joined St. Joseph's College. So I had chronic fatigue in 1989. 1988, mid 1989, I felt it. I was telling my sports teacher in St. Michael's School something's wrong with me. Like my side hurts and this left foot hurts. Oh, so the lady in London told me your whole side, left side hurts. I said, no, no, half. Because I had gone to Aga Khan Hospital to Dr. Shaista, the best on this breast cancer, to get my checked because, yeah, it was hurting me and I felt there was something there. But it came out clear. They checked and I had a mammogram and all this done for my left side. Then you see, so this nowadays, like this problem on social media, they won't let me do anything. I feel, uh, the snide remarks, the personal remarks. Okay, if someone here comes, a Muslim, and gives me a death threat, I won't be abusing him. I would just want to know. There's sometimes when I'm really composed and I'm not like sometimes like if someone says wrong things about ex-Muslims and snide remarks and insults, I get really, oh, then afterwards I'm like nothing. You can check my, what do you call it, recent ones. You can check from ex-Muslims from Pakistan channel on their notify. This place I can, although Alicia ex-Muslim had complained against my, what you call it, comments on his recent, I thought it's Alicia. So you can check these comments there. My comments on his upcoming live stream from channel ex-Muslims from Pakistan. See how I become, right? Then, oh God, like I, right now I can't say like, you can check my comments. And I've been doing live streams on the comments of previous live streams also you can check. So, I could get into trouble or they want to mess my everything up. They've put my life upside down, watching, feeling, and all this. And I feel people are brutal, no, hardly much. So take your power back. This I know from a long time ago. You've seen videos on YouTube. Spiritualists pulling down, couldn't rise above and go to my higher self. Just jotted down some notes like that in 1999. righteous anger didn't lie. Okay, before this, before 1999, someone put a very strong thing on me. So if they were trying to discipline me, and my father and my principal were involved behind my back, but then the thing was very intense, like it was from Anand Kiran, through the somehow using Anand Kiran or internet. It was traumatizing, and to be seen, um, how to so I wouldn't lie in anger even. I would just, it would be my righteous anger for justice, or you will destroy your country with your lives, and if you don't apologize, accept your mistakes. I used to get angry like this in Karachi, in the markets also, and all this. How to discipline children, now on discipline. So if this thing was done to help me discipline myself on YouTube, and indirectly use someone now through the live stream, through the Desichat ID popping up, private box chatting on Chandini Rate in Desichat. Anand Kiran said some things also, like giving me the birthday, similar, same as Mrs. Maria Gulsar's day, birthday, and Didi, will you be my friend, and all that. Then maybe I was like, she had, oh, I went to my principal's place afterwards in 1999 May, and then I continued going to a place, visiting her. So one of the visits, she told me that she felt she had cancer on her back, but then the test came clear. I was like shocked. So I was listening to her, and when I went home, I was like, cancer. Oh, 1997. Remember, I told you that I was getting this intuitive feeling that my enemy wants to give Mrs. Munira Guzar cancer. So, 1999 beginning, I started to visit her again, coming back from London to Karachi. So, in one of the visits, again, she said that she felt she had cancer, the pain in her lower back on her left side, I think. And then the tests have come clear. So I thought Anand, Kiran, and all, now they didn't want me to come to their home because my enemy was after them. And yes, they even threatened to kill her. Voices started to come now. Year 2000, I don't know when it started, end of year 1999 or beginning of year 2000, that you bitch, don't come to our house. Ali Tim and all, her sons, this, when, yeah, it was like these youngsters like Ali Tim and her youngest son's friend, Ali Tim from Milestones. This is, so, Mrs. Gulzar's son, Siad Gulzar. So one day I'm like, now I'm using Desichat and all. And then the MSN Messenger, Yahoo Messenger also, which I started using with them. I think Yusuf Zaidi, when he also came, Yahoo Messenger started. There were first Yahoo chat rooms also before Desichat. So Christians or someone, Western people saying like F Jesus and all this, and they're not getting death threats. It was from their own. They would say, the Christians would say, God bless you, or it's like James, God bless you, like that in their chat rooms. But not death threats or any kind of, exchange of abuse. Okay, so this is the milestone. So the people who were sending me voices, or whose voices were now coming, was that like youngsters like Ali Tim and my ex-friend Saima Peer and all that. I heard that his Ali Tim's sister was in Canada, living in Canada. like these kind of. And Andalip Siddiqui had come. It was a fake childhood friend who actually came in my house. Like my father wasn't there. He had gone for a trip to Dubai or somewhere, London. And this is the time when Andali from Desichat I had met on Desichat. Oh, my childhood friend from St. Vianney's. But when she came, I was like, kind of, she was saying things. She had seen I was doing something the day before in my bedroom. Oh, so it got really. So I was like, "You bitch!" The voices were telling me, "Don't come to our place," and they were using Alitim. So that just got to my ego, you know. I mean, Alitim. I don't know how old he is, but he's that very proud person I found, and he wouldn't even move. Once, so he was he entered principal's house, and principal was seeing me off, in her house. And then when he came in, the principal took me aside for him to pass by. Uh, I didn't like his behavior. Sorry. So okay, so let me show you something. Yeah. So is, so he this is Ziad Gulzar, my principal's son. This is Alitim. This is Candy Pereira. She was in St. Joseph's College during my year, but senior to me. So these are not just my imaginations of that time. I got schizophrenic at this time, phobic. Oh, what's it called? No, not phobia. Again, I'm forgetting that word, but it's like phobia. I have it in my this thing that's given to me. Report, doctor's report. It's sorry, I've forgotten the name. I get all flustered coming here on live stream. Trying to do my best. Then recently, you see, and due to this, like you, the lady told me it's not you. So I could get into trouble before also in my college. Someone could trap me, or just like that, like someone sending. The lady did tell me, clairvoyant in London, that the witch, like this enemy of yours, was doing sorcery, black magic, whatever you may call it, however you may understand it, also sending evil spirits on you. You don't think, and I could get into trouble, and I did many times, and before even in Karachi American school. Like, how did you get up to come here? I was like, you should have been a vegetable, and I realized, oh, then the chronic fatigue, and not only like she said, you are very determined. Like in chronic fatigue, at least some people can get up and all this. Okay, now it gets worse and worse, right? They could flag my YouTube live streams, and she's calling all Muslims. So I told my dad, like a father and my brother in Dubai, please go and talk to the psychiatrist and say that this is. But they'd only admit me, or fine. No, no, they won't fine me, right? So they would say, stop using this. My doctor would say, you need to be admitted, you can't do this, to the hospital. But I don't want to live my life, or even briefly in the hospital, not even one night. uh, I forgot to tell the doctor that there was a time, but that was in my childhood. But for this schizophrenia, did you ever stay overnight in a hospital? That's in London with my mother. I had appendicitis operation done. That's when I stayed. That was in my childhood. I forgot to tell her about that. I was like, never, never. Huh, I forgot. So this, never for this schizophrenia, but okay, maybe she was asking me for anything else. So I forgot. In my childhood, yes, I was in that hospital in London for appendicitis with my mother. Okay, now with shock claim. Where am I? So all these self-help books, disciplining myself, principle thought, maybe, what's this in the diary? Someone's read my diary, told her, misunderstanding, and also getting into trouble, not abiding by some rules here on social media, guidelines, community guidelines. But this time, like, I wasn't hurting anyone. I wasn't abusing. I went to ex-Muslim from Pakistan channel, but I just said that no, no, I this ex-Muslim, he's done a wrong thing on this. I had to because this misrepresentation of Quran ayat. Now you see, there's a case now. I was on Rob Christian, so I said, please. Rob Christian was saying, please don't give me like I love you and all this. Don't give me death threats and all. And I was saying I agreed to that. Even if Rob Christian insults your prophet or you feel insulted because of things he says, uh, don't you should I've worked that out, right? That you shouldn't be killing us, and your prophet shouldn't have said this, that whoever leaves Islam should be killed. Because now we are ex-Muslims, your rule doesn't apply on us. And even to these hypocrites, if they if they have taken, like, what damage hypocrites can do to a religion, they want to pull out this roots. So in the belief, this let me show you this right here. So if these hypocrites, believers, maybe this will help. The believers are divided about the hypocrites and the God, search. Oof. But if they have taken refuge in the one you have a what you call treaty with, then you can't kill them. Although your religion says they should be killed, right? Hypocrites? No. Let's find this ayat by the believers are divided about the hypocrites. Okay. Surah Nisa'at. I keep thinking it's in another surah. How bad. My memory has become traumatized. Do you think this way you could discipline someone by scaring them, sending them voices, watching, feeling, by discouraging them? What is the matter with you that you are two groups concerning the hypocrites, while Allah has made them fall back for what they earned? Do you wish to guide those whom Allah has sent astray? I'm just reading it out. Should I show it on the screen? I hope I don't get disconnected here showing it on the screen. I hope this time it's all well. Believers, they are divided into two about the hypocrites. Do you want to guide those who God has left astray? Okay. No, it's 89 says, they wish you would disbelieve as they disbelieve, so you would be alike. So anyone giving you lectures against Islam, we wish you to disbelieve, right? Yeah, we are helping you to disbelieve. So do not take from among them allies until they emigrate for the cause of Allah. But these are about the hypocrites of that time. Anyways, we fall into one category here. They wish you would disbelieve. We wish you would leave this false religion. And so this is, you could put us in this category. So do not take from among them allies until they emigrate for the cause of Allah. I mean, it was for that time, hypocrites in Makkah. But if they turn away, then seize them and kill them, wherever you find them, and take not from among them any ally or helper. But the next ayat says, 90 of Nisa, except, there's an exception, please see this, except for those who take refuge with the people between yourselves and whom is a treaty. Like let's say I take refuge with the UK International Law Organization, Human Rights, and whom is a treaty, or those who come to you, their hearts drained. So we don't want to fight you, fighting their own people. And if Allah had willed, He could have given them power over you and they would have fought you. But even if Allah had given me power over you, I would not have fought you. I would have helped you to become free, not fighting you, and leave this religion, this false religion. I've shown you so many evidence against this religion. So if they remove themselves from you, what does that mean? And do not fight you and offer you peace. I offer you peace. Then Allah has not made for you a cause against them, right? So I don't think you should be giving us death threats, even against these hypocrites of that time. Then if they see, first it says kill them wherever you find them, but then it says this. And what if you Muslims think this ayat has been abrogated? For you Muslims, this ayat has been abrogated. This is a Makkah ayat, God knows, and Surah Tawbah ayats now, operate. Oh God. So you could kill us, give us death threats, and moreover on the insults against blasphemy. So I found a case here. I found a case here. Uh, let's see. If you think that have European judges that no one can criticize Prophet Muhammad, but let's see in what way we can. Have European judges just ban defamation of the Prophet Muhammad? Answer: no. They have not banned defamation of the Prophet Muhammad, the European judges, thank God. Okay, very wise. People are claiming that the European Court of Human Rights has just imposed a blasphemy law protecting Islam. It hasn't. It has not, meaning, explains Simon Perfect. The European Court of Human Rights has just, I'm going to read all this out. Please bear with me. Sorry if it sounds boring. And I won't be looking at the chat comments. And neither I think anymore should I take, but I've kept it open. Any comments here? The European Court of Human Rights has just ruled in a case about freedom of speech and the Prophet Muhammad. Mrs. E.S. from Austria had described Muhammad as a pedophile and was convicted by the Austrian court. The European judges upheld the original ruling. Does this mean, as some have claimed, that the European Court has just imposed a new blasphemy law banning slander of Islam? No, it doesn't. Reading a decent short summary of a legal judgment or even the actual judgment helps avoid jumping to conclusions based on personal biases that this is yet another cynical attempt of judges to curtail freedom of speech. So, what are the facts of the case? 2008, Mrs. E.S. held several seminars called Basic Information on Islam at the Educational Institute of the Right Wing Freedom Party in Austria. She said that one of the biggest problems today is that Muhammad is seen as the ideal man, and Muslim men believe they must imitate him. This is a problem because Muhammad liked to do it with children and had child sex with his wife Aisha, and that this was pedophilia. Over the next few years, she was subsequently found at each level of the Austrian courts to have violated Article 188 of the Austrian Criminal Code, which renders unlawful any behavior that publicly disparages or insults a person or object of veneration of a church or religious community in circumstances likely to arouse justified indignation. In these circumstances, the case then came to the European Court of Human Rights, with Mrs. E.S. arguing that her conviction was an unlawful interference with her right to freedom of expression guaranteed by Article 10 of the European Convention of Human Rights. This is the mistake maybe some of you do in regarding, you have a right because there's freedom of expression, and that's your right in Europe also, or Western worlds, countries. Why did the Austrian courts conclude? So it's very important you understand this case. What is freedom of expression and what are its limits? You may argue against it or for it, or however you want to argue, but this is the case, and this is what the European Courts of Human Rights decided. Why did the Austrian courts conclude her statements contravened the criminal code? This was a case that involved a tension between the state's duty to uphold Mrs. E.S.'s right to freedom of expression guaranteed by Article 10 of the Convention and its duty to ensure others could peacefully exercise their rights to freedom of thought, conscience, and religion guaranteed by Article 9. The Austrian courts found that people can make offensive attacks on religion but should avoid making statements that undermine the rights of others. Let's say if you can make offensive attacks on Islam, but you should avoid, for example, making statements that undermine the rights of Muslims or cause major offense to a religious group, such as Sunni, Shia, without contributing to a serious debate of public interest. So you should not be contributing to a serious debate of public interest. Her statements were not found to contribute to a serious debate since they were not facts, but derogatory value. So you shouldn't, wait a minute, let me see if I got this right. I have to read it many times to understand this, huh? So, no, sorry, this part, the Austrian courts found that people can make offensive attacks on religion, like Islam, Christianity, Judaism, Hinduism, but should avoid making statements. You should avoid making statements that undermine the rights of others, their rights, like Muslims, Hindus, Jews, Christians, or cause major offense. Now, what is the major offense? Causing major offense to a religious group. So I have to see this. How would you cause a major offense to a religious group? Without contributing, without contributing to a serious debate of public interest. Okay, I have to kind of figure this out. Her statements were not found to contribute a serious debate since they were not facts, but derogatory value judgments. So don't make derogatory value judgments without a sufficient evidence base and without sufficient evidence base. The courts involved themselves in a rather bizarre attempt to assert whether there was enough evidence to determine the historicity of the claims. But regardless of whether the statements were actually true or not, the Austrian courts found that her aim was not to open up an objective discussion. See, my aim here. It wasn't to open up a discussion, objective discussion about Islam and child marriage, but specifically to degrade Muhammad and, moreover, to deride Muslim attempts to imitate him. So Mrs. E.S. therefore contravened the Austrian criminal code because she insulted an object of religious veneration in an unnecessarily gratuitous way, with the ultimate intention of attacking a religious group. With the ultimate intention of attacking a religious group. So look at that. Like I was saying there, see, if don't give death threats to Rob Christian, even if you're insulted or your prophet is insulted or you feel insulted by him insulting Prophet Muhammad or something. No death threats. You don't have the right for that or harm him. You can, what you can do, which I didn't mention there, is if you think that Rob Christian or someone, a Christian Prince or me, were doing something wrong here, like for example, then the your courts can give you a Sharia court of the Muslims. Like bring this kind of a thing. This is a great example. You can bring a lawsuit against us, not threatening us individually to kill us. Then they won't take that. They won't take action against us. So you are like do it in this international way. Bring the person if he is say I'll bring I'll come to Dubai or and as a Muslim I will bring a case against you for look at the points here how they've decided upon this case. So let's go further. You can bring a case against us, but if you give death threat to Rob Christian, then your case you won't even come. Like you're actually slamming the hammer on your leg and on Islam's leg by giving death threats. So why did any any harmful threats? So why did the EC for Human Rights agree with the Austrians? Now it's gone to the EC for Human Rights, right? EC for HR. Agree, European Court for Human Rights agree with. So why did the European Court for Human Rights agree with the Austrians? Very important point. See here. While everyone has the right to freedom of speech, Article 10, this is qualified, meaning that states can legitimately interfere with someone's right in narrow circumstances necessary in a democratic society, such as to protect the rights of others or prevent disorder. The European judges give states the European judges give states a wide margin of appreciation when it comes to determining what counts as necessary in a democratic society. I wish we also had this in UAE and in other countries, Islamic countries, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Kuwait, Pakistan, particularly when it comes to matters of freedom of expression. In effect, the EC for HR determined that Austrian judges are better placed than itself to determine what is best for securing peaceful coexistence of communities in Austria, and that the Austrians had done a legitimate job of balancing the competing rights involved in the case. The EC4HR also agreed with the Austrian courts that Mrs. ES was presenting value judgments without sufficient evidence, not facts, and was not trying to create serious debate on the issue. What does all this mean and was not trying to create serious debates on the issue? So you should try to create okay. What does all this mean for the UK? It certainly doesn't mean the European judges have issued a Europe-wide ban on criticism of the Prophet Muhammad. It certainly doesn't mean the European judges have issued a Europe-wide ban on criticism of the Prophet Muhammad, or even on making statements like Mrs. E.S., or even on making statements like Mrs. E.S. It just means the EC for HR has confirmed that the Austrian decision didn't contravene convention rights. What are your convention rights? You need to find that out. And in these difficult cases concerning freedom of expression, it must take strong account of the laws of its member states, as well as of the context of the particular case in hand. It repeated the key principle that member states have a wide margin of appreciation in these kinds of legal cases. What applies in one country won't necessarily apply in another. Some have claimed that the decision means that criticism of Muhammad can only be made in contexts of objective public debate supported by sufficient facts. It's not at all clear from this case that this would be so. So this is also not clear by this case. Since Mrs. E.S.'s conviction may well have been upheld, even if she had made her statements in a way that opened up objective, serious debate, whatever they may look like. However, it is clear from previous case law that when considering difficult cases of freedom of expression, the EC for HR will consider factual statements supported by sufficient evidence as being more protected by Article 10 than insufficiently supported value judgments. In Britain, we have different laws that might be involved in this scenario. The Racial and Religious Hatred Act 2006, for example, criminalizes threatening words or conduct with an intention to stir up hatred on grounds of religion, right? Let's say someone burns the Quran to prove that this is just a book. You don't have to kill us seriously. You can burn the Bible, right? But let's say if, I think if Muslims go threatening that we will burn your whole house, you and your children in it, or just saying we will burn you, then in the European court, to protect the burning of the Quran, you can go like this. Maybe it may stand a test of time, and they may give you the, what do you call it, judgment. Okay, this person should not have burned the Quran. But if you go threatening them on the social media and saying, we'll burn you, burn your country, or even just you, a little bit of you, then you've just done what is against this, right? The Racial and Religious Hatred Act, 2006, or another act which says everyone, like you can't threaten, you yourself cannot threaten to burn the ones burning the Quran, whatever act that might be, like putting someone's life in danger for burning your Quran, your sacred book. The racial and so there'll be mitigating circumstances they'll see on that, and you will not gain this respect of the international law courts and great judgments like these. In Britain, we have different laws that might be involved in this scenario. The Racial and Religious Hatred Act, 2006, for example, criminalizes threatening words. Yeah, so in this, or conduct, this may apply to against the Muslims trying to get a case for burning Quran. Criminalizes threatening words. So if you use any threatening words, you come under the criminalized act. Or conduct with an intention to stir up hatred on grounds of religion. But it contains freedom of speech clause. Now there's a clause which it contains so that it won't come into effect in a way that prohibits or restricts discussion, criticism, or expressions of antipathy, dislike even, ridicule even, insult, or abuse. Even abuse of particular religions, or the beliefs or practices of the adherents or of any other belief system, the belief system. If a similar case arose in Britain, the EC4HR would have to take the strong protection of freedom of expression into account. So when you're threatening Rob Christian or me or someone, your case will not stand. Will go against you. Will have mitigating circumstances. They see the you're going. You've criminal. You've become a criminal by threatening words, using threatening words, and you've encroached upon our freedom of expression to criticize, ridicule, insult, abuse religions, not religious people, but religions or beliefs or practices, even practices of these religions, like dislike, ridicule, insult. So, this is, I've learned today something new. You can even insult not only a religion, but it's a practice, even abuse of particular religions or beliefs or practices of their adherents or of any other belief system. So this we are allowed by the EC for HR, right? So if a similar case arose in Britain, the EC for HR would have to take the strong protection of freedom of expression into account. So freedom of expression gives us right to ridicule, antipathy, express our antipathy, criticism, dislike, ridicule, insult, abuse, even your religious practice, the International Court. European Court for Human Rights allows this. But if you send us death threats here, oh, so where it goes blind, let me know. So since so what was I saying? My contradictions. You see, you may find, like you see, sometimes I have to use diplomacy, and if I can, and they don't cheerify me, mess with my feelings hurting me as I've been hurting since year to 1999 May or afterwards when Anand Kiran. So I've been hurting, and voices they've hurled at me and whatnot they've hurled at me. So when I contradict, they're now even getting angry and saying, you know, this and all that. But I wouldn't lie in anger. Exaggerations I've done, like about my someone in London, like bathtub and God, because that was because I thought my cousin had in revenge to me against his mother, which was a true story in London against his mother, which came out in Karachi. So her passport was confiscated and all this. I thought he tried to take revenge against me later on in Karachi by subjecting a girl, my friend's friend, getting her married to, setting up a proposal, sending it to her house. Like they lived opposite when he maybe he'd seen our car during, we were going to Alliance Francaise in 1986 with Sabia's friends, college, school friends, Habib girls, college friends. We were going to, now they were in college. So I was also going with them. So what he did was due to me, what an innocent person, and my heart couldn't take it because I've seen her crying in her reception, and she was a very simple. And like how, hmm, so wait a minute, yeah, she was a very decent, simple Mrs. Sattar's. I was told at a wedding. I saw I saw this lady. They said she's a teacher in St. Joseph's College. Just hold on, I need a breaker. So how she just, the musty and we would go on stage and she would, on her Valima night, made her say certain things to us about her. Oh, sorry, excuse me, I have to end this.